Konnichiwa, welcome to Peter Beals Roses, and this little video is going to be about how to care for your roses for 365 days. So during January and February you can still plant bare root roses, but there's a perfect time also to do your pruning. Climbers, ramblers, shrub roses and so on. So in front of me I've got a shrub rose here, and I'm now going to show you how that we would prune it here in the nursery. During the months of March and April, just after you finish pruning, now is a perfect time to start feeding your roses with a slow release fertiliser. What you want to do is 2 good handfuls round the base of the rose, one there and then another one round the back, probably about 30 centimetres away from the plant. Then you just need to fork it in like that, puff up the soil. So what will happen, the fertiliser is now mixed in with the soil, and when it starts raining, what will happen, the rain will hit the puffed up soil and go straight down into the ground. During March, the ground is warming up, so the roots are now active. So that's when they're beginning to start looking for feed and extra trace elements. So that's a perfect time. Also, during April, what we do is we start spraying the gardens with fungicides, insecticides and feed. During May and June, really just go out in the garden and enjoy your roses. They're looking at their best. May and June is perfect. So we carry on spraying with the fertiliser and insecticides and fungicides as well in the gardens. But at home, generally all I do is trying to keep on top of the feeding. Feeding is more important than trying to use insecticides and fungicides, because when you've got roses like this, Ashton Wold, which is one of our new releases, and it's very insect and bee friendly, the last thing you want to do is to kill any of the bees with fungicide or insecticide. So I try at home to try and just mainly feed with liquid feed. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So during June, more so towards the end of June, when your roses have just about finished their first flush, another good fertiliser, so 2 handfuls round the plant, slow release, and that will release during July and August, where it's a bit of a difficult month for roses. That will give them that feed. But during June, July and August, you want to be using, we use Maxicrop with added iron, but I'm sure again you have your own recommendations for a liquid feed. Now, during June, when the flowers are at their best, deadheading is quite an important thing. So when the flowers are just about finished like that, you can break the flowers off like that. As you can see, this rose, which is a beautiful rose, one of my favourites, is Champagne Moments. It's got the clusters of about 6 or 7 flowers on the end of each stem. So when the other flowers are finished, sad to break it off like that, but then when you're left with the last flowers, then is when you want to deadhead down deep into the plant. I'm using this as an example because it's nice and clear, and hopefully you'll be able to see it on the screen. Normally, when you're deadheading, you go down to the first decent set of 5 leaves, 3 leaves, 5 leaves. That's a little bit smaller here. So deadheading could be done to there, but because this has sent out a huge stem, what I will be doing, I'm not going to cut it because we need to enjoy the roses. I'd be cutting down to an outward facing bud, probably nearly 2 foot down into the plant, to keep it the same height as the other ones. When we're deadheading in the summer, these are really good long handled pruners. So you can get up to the height that you want to without a ladder, grip, and then put it into your wheelbarrow. During July and August, you want to keep on carrying on deadheading. So again, once it's finished flowering, cut to an outward facing bud, roughly 45-degree angle, and then your new shoots will then come. It's very important during July and August to keep on with the feeding. What again we use here is the Maxicrop with added iron, and we've got nearly 3,000 roses in the garden, and hopefully that, you know, you'll have a few roses, but that would cost you a fortune to feed the whole lot. So the best thing to do would be to concentrate on some of the roses that are not doing so well, and liquid feed them every 7 to 10 days, and that will be an egg cupful per watering can. And just take your time and just slowly get nearly a whole watering can per plant. If you can do all your roses, then fine. So during July and August, they are looking like that. So they're now making new growth, hopefully not too much black spot or anything, because you've been on top of your feeding, and enjoy the next flush during September. So during July and August, when all your climbers or ramblers especially have finished flowering, end of June, they start sending out great big stems like this. Sometimes they'll even be 6 foot in length, something like that. So it's a good time now to either wind some of those shoots in like that and that. If you don't need them, look at that, I bent that one, doesn't matter. Always plenty of material to cut off. So wind them in or tie them up, and then you see the beautiful structure of your arch, rather than having all these branches poking out. Looking up top here, there's probably about 20 stems. All I would do is probably just tie about 5 or 6 stems and cut the rest off, and then you see the beauty of your arch. During August and September, a lot of the roses, especially ramblers and some of the species roses, send out wonderful hips. Rosa glauca is another good one. Rosary de la Haye have wonderful hips. Look at them here. They're not quite ready yet, but they turn a bright scarlet red. And this one here is called Charlotte Blood. It grows to about 8 to 9 feet. So not only do the roses look wonderful in June, July and August, so we've got plenty of roses still out, but the hips are now coming into their own during August and September. During October, it's too early to start pruning over here. So what we tend to carry on doing is carrying on making the garden nice and tidy. If you see a long stem or something, just tidy it up, move around your plants like that, move on, dig, hoe, fork out any weeds and so on, ready for when you start the pruning again in November, December. So we're still in October now, but look at this wonderful rose here. This is Kifskate Superior. Very similar to Kifskate, but it has slightly bigger flowers. And this is one which Peter introduced probably 20, 30 years ago. It's very capable of doing great heights like your Kifskate at Barracoora, 60, 70 feet. But as you can see, we've got it on this pergola here, and it goes right the way down further along, but just look at this cluster. It will turn a little bit more red than that. Kifskate is such a beautiful rose. During November, the hips are just about to have finished. They start going a little bit soft and mushy, and that's a good time, you know, to take off the hips off your ramblers and so on. I've just got a few hips here. One of my favourites is Rosa Moyesi geranium. Look at those beautiful hips. Rosary de la Haye, lovely tomato-shaped hips. Rosa eglanteria, this is a sweetbriar. If you rub the leaves, that also has apple-scented foliage. Here we have Rosa californica plena. And finally, Rosa pimpinifolia. Finally, we're into November and December. Still a lovely month. We start getting some frosts, and we start pruning in the gardens here November, early November. Do not do it in October. It's still nice and warm. The winters are getting narrower and shorter because of global warming, etc. So probably about the second week of November we'll start doing some good pruning, and December, and obviously we spoke about it in January, February. So they're your good pruning months. Bare root roses, November, December are the best time to plant your bare root roses, because they have a chance to settle in for 3 or 4 months during the winter period, and ready to start shooting in the spring. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video of 365 days of growing and looking after your roses.